Good enough. Thanks again for tuning into yet another video. Infamous coming at you live from the West Coast yet again, San Jose, California. So the event was yesterday. The Indian demo event. Overall, it was a beautiful day. You guys saw there was forecast. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't too cold. It was just right. So overall, day was great. Demo days, they're always fun. I mean, free gas, you get to ride the bikes, try out new models, try out a little bit of everything. You know, it's just, you know, it's like Costco on a Friday. You get to try a little bit of everything at the samplers, you know, at the desk samplers. But here, you get to ride it instead of eating it. So, I had a great time. The event coordinator, he was, you know, a good guy. Overall, well trained and educated, I guess. Very knowledgeable. I had, you know, different questions and stuff like that. He was able to answer them to the best of his abilities. So, overall, beautiful day yesterday. So, I typically just make these motovlogs and, you know, talk about what's needed. In case you're wondering, or in case you're trying to get ready for your own demo day, maybe it's scheduled, you know, close by. Maybe you're just wondering, but of course you need to have the gear. From what I've noticed over the last 5 years, they're not too strict about full gear. I know sometimes they'll see the the ad or the post wherever you see it. They'll have jacket, pants, boots, gloves, and helmet, and of course your motorcycle endorsement. So you know, those are the six things you got to have. But like I said, for the most part, it's just you got to have a lid. This time around, I think most dealerships, they have loaners. You know, the Harley dealers, they have a riding academy, so you're able to, you know, get one of those helmets and ride for the most part. When I came to the Indian event, they had half helmets on the side for people that you know, that were just stopping by and they didn't have a lid. They had loaners. So as far as what you really need, it's just your motorcycle endorsement. You got to have that. There was a fellow earlier this year who was riding a bike, showed up to the Harley demo event, and even though he showed up on a motorcycle, I'm pretty sure he was, you know, able to and all that stuff, they didn't let him demo any of the bikes. You need to have an endorsement in your Class M. So that's the number one thing you really have to have. But hey, it's always good to just be prepared. All right, just be prepared. Take that stuff. I always say it in all the videos. Just take the stuff. Take your gloves. Take your jacket. Take your boots, just in case. And then once you see that they're not too strict about that stuff, then you can just leave it in your bike, leave it in your saddlebag, or leave it in your vehicle. Whatever whatever you want to do, as long as you. In my opinion, as long as you're comfortable and you're safe, you know, keeping your lid on, I think it should be fine. So, of course, first come, first serve to these events. You could show up early. From what I understand, most of them start at 10. Most of them start at 10. Sometimes they're at 9 o'clock, but for the most part, 9 or 10, all right? So just pay attention. Sometimes they might be a little bit delayed due to, you know, rain or weather conditions, whatever you want to call it. I think that was like the one time one of the demo events was delayed was because of the rain. They had to make sure the route was dry enough. You know, it was a little misty during one of the events. I mean, it really depends on the event coordinator. But if it's raining, or you know, there's weather forecast, there's a good chance they're going to cancel the demo event. So luckily for me, earlier this year when I went to my Harley demo event, we had to wait, or I had to wait about 40 minutes for the you know, the wet pavement or the wet roads to kind of clear up, and then we were able to resume the demo rides. That was, you know, that's one of the things that you have to keep in mind. I mean, if you're traveling kind of like I did, I had to travel about an hour and a half out of my way to go to the Harley demo event. So it just, you know, it was a little bit of a bummer driving all the way over there, and then, you know, they told me they were still going to have it, but if I would have known that there's a chance of them canceling it because of rain or weather conditions, I don't think I would have gone. But luckily, you know, it was only light rain for the most part. The event coordinator, he wasn't too worried about it until, you know, we started getting some heavy rain, and then that's when he put a little bit of a stop, and I was able to, you know, keep on riding. So, you know, keep that in mind. The demo event could be canceled due to weather conditions. Okay, so that's you know, that's another thing to note. So overall, you know, they're pretty straightforward. I would always suggest, if you're not you know, if you're not used to riding a 800-pound bike or 900-pound bike, you know, I don't know, I mean, you probably see my videos and you might think it's easy, but you know, it's not. All right, if you're, you know, like I said, if you're not used to it, if you're someone that's, you know, that rides Sportsters or rides a Scout, if you haven't been on a 700-pound bike, I always suggest starting out somewhere in the middle. Now you might be wondering, what do you mean the middle? What does that mean? That means get a Road King or get a Springfield. Get something that's not a full dresser. All right, if there's nothing available, get yourself something that's not a full dresser. You got to take it in steps. That's what happened last year at this demo event. We had a rider, he was anxious to test ride the Pursuit. I believe he was a Sportster guy. You know, he got on the Pursuit, he dropped it 3 times, and they told him, you know what, you're done for the day. That's it. You can't handle this bike. You know, if I would have known that he, you know, if I would have known he was a Sportster guy, I would have recommended the Springfield, all right, or probably the Super Chief. You know, something like the Heritage. You take it in steps. I mean, this is a big jump from 500, 600-pound bike to a 900-pound bike. You know, it's something that you know, some folks are just not, you know, ready for. They're not prepared for. And last year, same thing. I had another rider wanting to move up on the models, and I told them, hey, try the Springfield out first, see how you feel, see if you know, see if you're okay with the size and the weight of the Springfield. Once you're, you know, a little bit more confident, then you could look at the full baggers, the full dressers, like the Chieftain or the Street Glide or the Road Glide, and then you could move up from there. You could go up to the Limited once you're, you know, comfortable with the weight and how the bikes maneuver and how they feel and stuff like that. So just some tips. You know, that's it. The overall event with the models, they didn't have any of the Rogues, so I don't know if they're discontinued for 2023, 2024. I'm not too sure. As far as, you know, the timing of the event and the models, and I don't know, it felt a little limited this year. I'm not entirely sure. There was also, you know, some problems with some of the bikes. I'm not entirely sure how Indian does it with the demo truck, but you know, some of the windshields were not working. What is this waiting for? The electronic adjustable windshield was not working on 2 of the models that I test rode, which sucked because I wanted to see if it would improve the wind buffeting on the Chieftain. That was something. And there was maybe like 2 or 3 models that had a tight clutch. You know, from what I know from, you know, the Harley's demo event, if there's something going on with any of the bikes, like a tight clutch or whatever, and if you bring it to the attention of the event coordinator, they'll take it into the service department, you know, fix it real quick, and then put it back on the demo event, or put it back up for riders to test ride. So just a little surprised that the electronic windshield was not working since, you know, the beginning of the event. It would have been nice. I don't know, maybe, you know, maybe somebody that owns a Chieftain or a Challenger or Pursuit, maybe you guys can probably chime in and let me know if this is a common issue with these bikes. That little electronic motor goes out, or who knows, maybe it's just the people messing with them all the time. You know, yeah, it is a demo event. So, yeah, just, I mean, it happens. It also happened during my demo event with Harley-Davidson. The Street Glide Anniversary 120th edition had a tight clutch, so it never disengaged the clutch. And you know, it was a little bit of a bore because I wasn't able to fully enjoy that 117. So it just happens, all right. And I think as far as the selection, like I mentioned, they didn't have any of the elites. You know, the last 2 years I rode the Chieftain Elite, and then I rode the Challenger Elite. This time around, they didn't have any of the elites. So, and I mean, I know they're all the same. I mean, I know they're all the same as far as performance, specs. You know, the specs on the paper, you know, performance, suspension, but it's just nice to see the colorways in person, you know, the custom color. Whenever I go to my Harley dealership, I like to see the colors in person, because they do look different. I mean, they don't look the same like they do on the monitor. You really have to see them in person. So it's just a shame that I wasn't able to see any of the elites. I wasn't able to, you know, test ride any of the elites. But for the most part, I was on a tight schedule. Of course, I had to get back on with work. So luckily, my manager was kind enough to let me miss half of my work day to go test ride these bikes. You know, as far as which one was my favorite overall, I'd still say, as far as the baggers, man, I really like the Chieftain. I really like the Chieftain, but you know, just because it's a 116 air-cooled V-twin push-rod engine, but man, the Challenger and the Pursuit are just way too fun. Aesthetically, I give it to the Chieftain. It's a, you know, in my opinion, it's a better looking bike. It just looks better. The fairing, you know, just the overall look to it. I think the engines, they both look good on both of the bikes. But I would say the Chieftain is the better looking bike, and the Pursuit is the bike that, I mean, if you really want to have fun, and if you really want to enjoy yourself and have, you know, a little bit more comfort, a little bit more features, and a lot more performance, then the Challenger, the Pursuit is where it's at. So it's tough. You know, it's tough picking between the Challenger and the Chieftain. I would really like, even though the performance is not there and, you know, the suspension is not quite the same as the Challenger, I think it would still lean towards the Chieftain. You guys can let me know in the comments which one's your favorite Indian bagger. As far as the Roadmaster and the Limited, man, that's really tough as well. I mean, the full dressers. Man, I think I'm still gonna have to lean towards the Roadmaster just because of the way it looks. As far as the Chiefs, you know, I had a blast with the Sport Chief. I really like what they did. Inverted forks, dual disc brakes, piggyback shocks. That fairing on the Sport Chief was very impressive. I was amazed on how well it performed. For my frame, I'm 5'7". This really depends on your height and on your helmet. But I didn't get wind buffeting at all. I got more wind buffeting from the Chieftain, a lot more. You know, I got vibration in my visor. I got vibration rattling in my helmet because of the wind buffeting from the Chieftain. On the Sport Chief with that new fairing, nothing. Very, very impressed. You know, I was happy with the Sport Chief. So I will say, as far as the Chief lineup, I mean, man, you guys know I ride a Lowrider S, so that's pretty much a clone, a photocopy. If you guys want to, you know, say or whatever, it's a photocopy of the Lowrider S. But of course, you get more bang for your buck. You get ABS standard, you get a TFT display, and you get a quarter fairing. You also get piggyback shocks. You know, as far as monoshock versus piggyback or external shocks, dual shocks, you know, that's a whole argument on itself. All right, there's plus and, you know, there's pros and cons to each. You know, it just really depends on the person. But I think the suspension on the Sport Chief was fantastic. I really like the seat. I don't like the seat on the Lowrider S. I really enjoyed the seat on the Sport Chief. It has that nice wall, keeps you in place, good texture on it, so it grips your pants. Man, it was, you know, overall it was a fantastic bike. And like I said, price-wise, I would say, you know, once you consider all that stuff, the Sport Chief is a better deal. Yes, you miss out on the oil cooler that you get with the Lowrider S. That's, you know, that's something that I mentioned that you do get on the Harley. On the Lowrider S, you do get an oil cooler, but on the Sport Chief, you can deactivate the rear cylinder. You know, that is the one that's going to get hot more often than, you know, the front one. And I mean, if it really mattered when it came to the oil cooler, you could, you know, buy one from Jags. It's about $400 to $500. I'm pretty sure they make one for the Indian. I'm not entirely sure, but I think they make one for the Indian, but I don't know. So an aftermarket mod, that's only $400. If you're trying to get the Lowrider S up to the Sport Chief, you have to add a lot. ABS alone, that's $1,000. TFT display, you don't have that option on the Lowrider S. So Bluetooth, touch display, little mini infotainment system. You can't buy that, or who knows? Maybe you can, but I'm pretty sure that's another $1,000 right there. Brembo brakes, all that other stuff. I know Harley uses Brembo. They just, of course, they just throw the barn shield on it, so it's not. It stops. Okay, it does what it's supposed to do, but just the ABS and of course the riding modes. That's another key difference between what you would have to add to the Lowrider S to get it up to par to the Sport Chief. The riding modes, it's a big one. You have two options, and both of those are about $600 or $900 depending on which one you go with. So anyways, hey, thanks for tuning in. As far as the Scouts, I didn't test ride any of them. Okay, I mean, they're good bikes. They perform pretty good. Just pointing out a few things. I guess the Nightster suspension is better than the Scouts. As far as the Scouts, if you were to ask me, I would say the Scout is by far the one I like. I like the wheel package, I like the fairing on it, and I like the performance. So the Scout's the one I like for those reasons. I really like how beautiful the wheels are and the overall look of the Scout Rogue. But like I said, I don't know if they're offering it in 2023. So hey, life's a risk. You guys let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? Which one's your favorite? Is the Sport Chief the one you're looking forward to? So you guys stay out there, stay safe. Life's a risk. Get out there and ride. Later.